When checking your emails, there's nothing worse than spam. No, I don't want to meet hot singles in my area. No, I don't want to know why dermatologists hate some 50-year-old lady. And no, I don't want to magically find love with 5 easy steps. Well, maybe the last one, but I'm smart enough to know that junk mail isn't a magical resource of hidden information the man doesn't want you to know. Often, they only slip by from bots that generate random email addresses to send to. The worst place for them is my personal email address. It doesn't help that it's also the email address I use to sign up for various sites. Out of hours, I have to keep an eye on there in case someone tries to get a hold of me after work. It's also become a compulsive nervous habit to check since I work with them most of the day. Beyond work, I often receive emails from older family members who don't know how to social media. After that, it's just newsletters I sign up for and offers from services I use. However, it seems I can't escape spam outside of my email. On Instagram, I follow a heap of accounts to make me laugh, but it's not uncommon to see those "hold your breath and try type X" or "I bet you can't do this" challenges posted, set up to build up their metadata to grow their account to sell ad space, which kids don't seem to pick up on, though I am a sucker for liking the money dog posts. What's worse is that I have a young niece who absolutely goes beyond what you'd expect someone would do for these. If she gets an email asking her to pass it on to 10 other people, you bet your ass it's in my inbox within minutes. I follow her on Instagram, and when I check my mutuals activity, she comments on all those spam posts and likes anything that promises some intangible rewards for doing so. I didn't mind though, as work became a safe haven from these annoying eyesores. My work email was mostly for internal communication, and I was tasked with managing communications. Sometimes I delved into the outside world by emailing external clients, but they were always trusted contacts that wouldn't sell on my details, lest risk losing our business. This is why I was dumbfounded when I saw an ominous-looking subject title on an email in my work inbox. I stared at it with disbelief. It was titled, "Do not delete," in all caps. "Pass this on in 7 days or ... The ellipses was an obvious attempt at clickbait to make me dig into what would be the repercussions for non-compliance. My one saving grace that this was just a co-worker that titled his request colourfully as a small stab at banter fell flat when I opened it and was instantly greeted with an eerie visage of an inhuman-looking girl. I immediately clicked off it and deleted it, disgusted, both at what I saw and the mystery of how it got there. I've never been too fond of horrific images in the first place. Maybe it was the fact that I wasn't expecting it, but for some reason, this one got to me. I intensely worked the rest of the day in hopes of fading that event from my mind. My act of trying to forget it somehow burning the image deeper in my mind's eye in a way that made me picture it whenever I closed my eyes. At home, it never left my visions. Like those optical illusions that require you to stare at dark shapes on a white background that reveals an image whenever you look away and blink, the face seemed to fade in at intervals as my eyes wandered the dark areas of my house. Time went by, and this persisted, on and off, for a number of days. My productivity dipped, and my loved ones became concerned at my lowered mood and lack of replies. I soon started taking part in chain mails that were sent my way, to the disbelief and concern of the recipients. However, nothing I did alleviated my visions. That image that flashed nightmares into my waking life. It was because of this that I wasn't initially shocked when I saw something when glancing my window that overlooked my yard. When my eyes caught a glimpse in that area multiple times, it was then that I realized something was off. I dropped what I was doing and leant towards the pane, studying the darkness that encompassed my garden. I squinted as my eyes adjusted, and as soon as my eyes hit that sweet spot of focus, what I saw made me stumble back and look away. A figure, not very tall, in the far reaches of any sources of light. It looked to be that of a child's. It wasn't hard to piece together that 7 days was soon coming up. I figured in my panicked logic that the best way to escape this curse was to adhere to the original email's instructions. Instructions I never knew, as I deleted it immediately upon opening it. The only way I thought to find it was to search the deleted folder in my work emails, a function implemented to help prevent the accidental deletion of important files. The problem was because it was a private system exclusive for my company. I could only access my work emails at my office. The next day couldn't come any faster, partly because I desperately wanted this curse to end, and because the little girl's face staring at me through the window made it impossible to settle. On my rush to work, my lack of sleep caught up to me, not only from the previous night, but from the nights before that had hours stolen from them. It took a few seconds for my head to dip and my focus to dwindle, for my front bumper to collide with a stationary car. What followed was a number of details swapped, various emergency services called to verify and log everything down, tow trucks to help clear up the busy intersection, and a lot of verbal abuse from the car's owner. No one was hurt, which I counted as fortunate. The only problem was the immense amount of time eaten by the whole event. I had no way of leaving early, to my constant protests, something the angry man picked up on and purposely dragged things on, him receiving a massive rush of pleasure from his petty revenge. By the time the taxi pulled up to my workplace, half the day was already gone. I had no idea the specific time when I deleted the email. My only information was the title, which gave a warning about 7 days, and the fact that the day had come. I quickly logged in, ignoring the ranting from my manager for my abysmal arrival time, and the concerned tone from co-workers that saw the scratched up condition I was in. It wasn't there. I scrolled up and down, searched all the keywords I could remember. Nothing turned up. I ran to the IT office and begged them to see if they could find a deleted email. They were compliant at first, but when I slipped in the detail that it was from a week ago, they told me the words I never wanted to accept. There was no way to get it back. Upon explaining what happened that day, minus the junk mail ordeal, my manager opted to let me leave early, and I chose to spend that time as productive as possible. I took to Google with hope in my heart that some niche forum held some answers. I searched around for various keywords relating to my problem to see if anything could turn up a solution. It was hard to concentrate, not just because of the shaken feeling of the jolt of adrenaline I'd received earlier finally catching up with me physically, but because of the eyes that I could feel peering over my shoulder, a devilishly playful vibe emanating from the presence behind me, giving me the feeling that she wanted to play, but it was only going to be fun for one of us. Sadly, all that turned up was scary stories written about little girls that haunted unsuspecting victims. something that was definitely not helping my situation. I took to finding paranormal boards, one such place being the X board on 4chan. I saw a vast number of threads, ranging from summoning a succubus to the bizarre paranormal findings in the current world. So, I explained my situation in full, hoping that someone would chime in with information to help me. All I got in response were a string of derogatory names and many accusations of being a role player. The thread got ignored and finally faded from the pages list. I tried a few more times, to the same result. All I could think was that these people must have been kids. The language they used and their manners screamed they were teens at most. But this reminded me of a certain someone. My niece. I sent her a polite email, trying not to scare her too much. I danced around the subject, but asked a series of questions about her relationship to the junk mail she forwarded and what to do if one ever came back to bite me in the ass. She must obsessively check her emails, because she got back to me almost immediately. Her response? A tamer version of the replies on the X board. She didn't directly say it, but her tone came across like she was calling me an idiot for entertaining the idea that a chainmail could be true. I couldn't help but feel aggravated at her hypocrisy, considering how much she complied to everyone she saw. I fell to my last resort. Primitive methods. I stared back at the girl, watching her standing in the corner of my living room, lolling her head from side to side in a playful way, a sly grin hinting at the torturous thoughts she held. She would twiddle a foot on her toe in a childish way every so often, giving the appearance that she wanted to be perceived as a little girl. However, her aura gave the impression that she was much older than she let on. I slowly crept over to my front door, gently picked up my shoe, and threw it at her, full force. The first one missed, as did the second, my mind struggling to focus on her at times, leaving me to wonder if my head was still shaken from the accident, or if she was somehow affecting my perception. Eventually, one flung straight into her, which then went literally into her and passed to the other side, as if she were intangible. She spoke to me and told me that there was no easy way to get rid of her now, and thanked me for not passing on her curse. All subtlety was thrown out the window when I yanked on some shoes, ran to my car, realized it wasn't there, and resorted to running down the street. I want to say I got some reprieve when I stayed in a hotel. However, it was worse, living in such a confined space with no electronics to divert my eyes from that girl watching me sleep. She always follows me, whether in private doing personal things or in public where all can see my bizarre reactions. No one else seems to perceive her presence, and worst of all, she finds new and creative ways to startle me at the worst of times. I tried living life as normal. However, it's hard to not get unwanted attention when I scream in fear at the copy machine, because under the scanning glass of the printer is the ghostly visage of a smiling ghoul, or when she appears when I wipe the dripping shampoo from my eyes whilst in the shower. But this is what I have to live with now. All because I didn't pass on the email in 7 days.